What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Man, it is cold out here. I just got my brand new boat. Been riding around for about an hour. The main goal today is just to get some time on my new boat, to be honest with you. You know, it's pretty important when you get a brand new boat and a brand new motor, especially the motor. You know, the first few hours on that motor are pretty critical to make sure everything gets seated right. Got a 250 Mercury Pro XS 4-stroke on the back of it. I'm not going to get into the boat a whole lot right now, just because I plan on doing a full walkthrough video when I get it all rigged and everything. But figure while I'm up here, might as well go try to catch a couple. So I brought a couple of crankbait rods, a couple of jig rods, so let's go see if we can catch one. Y'all stay tuned. Alright guys, let's get started right here and see if we can catch us one. I'm gonna start with a little, that's a little Spro crankbait, Little John. Dies about 6 to 8 foot, I'd say. I got it on 10 pound. It might hit 7 or 8 foot. Kind of back in this creek. Typically a lot of fish back in here this time of year. You don't typically catch a lot of big fish in here this time of year, but typically a lot of fish back here. So we'll fish around here a few minutes and see if we can get a bite. There's one. Not a big one at all. Little bitty spotted bass. Well, there you go, guys. That's the first fish in my new boat. He ain't much. I hope they get a whole lot bigger than that. I'll throw baits a lot bigger than that this year, but we caught one anyway. There's one. I knew there was one in there because one bumped my crankbait right in there when I came down through there. Not a very big one. Little tree right in there. That's where he was. There's probably another one in there too. Another little fella. Get in there and grow up, boy. One. Right here on this little point, I just lost a nice, looked like a smallmouth. 3 or 4 casts later, I caught that little guy. Getting pretty late in the afternoon now. I don't know what time it is, but it's probably getting to be about 3:30 or so probably. A lot of times, one of the biggest keys to wintertime fishing, I mean, obviously, if you're fishing a tournament, you know, normally you got to be in by 2:30, 3 o'clock, whatever. But if you're just out here fun fishing, a lot of times in the winter, it's better to maybe go a little later, you know, maybe get to the lake mid-morning and stay until dark, because typically every time, every day in the winter, especially on these sunshiny days, the fishing's going to get better as the day goes on. You know, you got a little bit of color to this water right here, and the sun's been beating straight down on it all day. So what you'll get just a little bitty spike in that water temperature, and it's not much. You know, it may even be just a half a degree or something, but water temperature is a big deal this time of year. And it makes, a lot of times it can make a big difference in those fish's activity level. And you'll have just a little bit of a feed window later on in the afternoon. There's one. Doesn't take long. That's a fat one. He ate it good too. Came back here in this creek. The water's dirty back in here, but that's okay. I like it. You know, I would say that muddy water is probably one of the biggest misconceptions that there is in all of bass fishing. Because, you know, a lot of people, it gets in their head, you know, it freaks them out, and they don't know how to deal with muddy water. They think, oh no, this water is too muddy. We can't catch any fish in this. So they run around the lake until they find super clean water, when in fact they should probably be doing the opposite a lot of times. Just to give you a little case in point from my experience, you know, this time of year you got a lot of fish that are out deep chasing bait, especially in clean water, in real clear water. There's a lot of bait out in 25, 30, 35, 40 foot this time of year. You know, in the winter time when the water's down in the 40s and 50s. But what happens is, when this water gets dirty like this, well, guess what? There's no light penetration down there in 20, 30, 40 feet when the water gets dirty. So those fish, they don't have any choice but to get right up next to the bank. They can't stay out there in that 20, 30, 40 feet because they can't see the feed. Now, yes, I know somebody's gonna say, oh, well, fish feed by their lateral lines, blah, blah, blah. And that's true, they do. But they're not gonna do that out there in the middle of the wide open nowhere. So, you know, a lot of times what will happen is, when that water gets dirty, them fish get up there in 6 feet of water or less, where it's a lot easier to target them. So the point I'm trying to make is, don't ever let muddy water get in your head. Now, it gets to a point where it gets to be too muddy, but it's got to be mud. The water has to be almost red before I would consider it too muddy. Just a little color to it, you know, 4, 6, 8 inches of visibility, Guys, I'm telling you, that's perfect. That's where you want it. You can sneak up on the fish better. You can trick them easier because they can't see as good. And just to be quite honest, there's more fish up there in the zone where you're fishing for them. So just keep that in mind. Don't ever be scared of muddy water. Just learn how to choose your baits, learn how to choose your colors, and you can definitely still catch them. All right, everybody, that's gonna wrap it up for today. The main goal today was to get some time on my motor. I wanted to get a couple hours on my motor if I could, and I definitely did that. So I'm gonna call it a day. Caught a few fish. You know, I hadn't been fishing in a couple weeks, so it felt good to get back out here. But appreciate you guys following along. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you maybe learned a little something. I'll see you guys next time right here, Brandon Lester Fishing.